When I was a young man, raised in Kitchener, Ontario, I thought I would like to have a family and wondered where I would raise my family. And I looked around me and I saw that the good farmland was being paved over and that the groundwater itself was being polluted by industry there, particularly the rubber industry. And I thought, this is not a place to raise a family. So I hitchhiked up to Thunder Bay to meet a friend who actually lived very close to where I've lived now for 50 years. And I fell in love with the area, I met the people, and I decided that I chose Thunder Bay and this area as a place to raise my family. That was 1972, and by 1977 I became aware that the nuclear waste industry, actually done through Atomic Energy Canada Limited with Ontario Hydro, had decided that this would be a good place to bury nuclear waste. Funny enough, after I'd chosen to be here, it didn't seem like a good long-term prospect for the family I wanted to raise, so I got involved. I was at the Hoyto restaurant with a good friend, Graham Saunders. We were having lunch together and we decided we better do something about it. So we formulated an organization which we called the Citizens Committee Studying Nuclear Waste. We thought that we should not be very clear in our objectives at that point. We wanted to raise awareness to the problem. And the way we did it was we formulated a petition. Essentially what we said is, before you consider burying nuclear waste in this region, we should have open public hearings so that people have a say. And of course, that's not what they wanted to do. It wasn't their plan. And so we had to go out and push this petition. And we, at the time, considering the technology that has developed, virtual development, we did it by hand and foot. We went to corner stores, we went to shopping plazas, we went to whatever presentations we could do. We had two organizations, sub-teams that went east along the North Shore and west through Ignace, Atikokan, Dryden. And we presented to whoever would have us. And we raised 24,000 negative votes against nuclear waste out of a population of about 240,000. So 1 in 10 people at that time decided that nuclear waste wasn't appropriate for this area. And funny enough, that was enough to convince the Thunder Bay City Council to have two plebiscites, one in 1985 and another one in 1997. The first one asked people if they would favor Thunder Bay being a nuclear weapons-free zone. And that passed, no problem. And then in 1997, we were more specific about nuclear waste. And people voted not to have nuclear waste in Thunder Bay and area. And that's virtually how it stood. And 91.6% of the vote was for not having nuclear waste buried in Thunder Bay. So it's been a history, and son of a gun, what should happen is they're back again. The nuclear industry is bigger and has larger, deeper pockets than we ever figured, and they haven't changed their plan. Essentially what they wanted to do was come up here and bury nuclear waste, as it was, in a deep geological formation. With regard to the choice in 2023, the Nuclear Waste Management Organization bases this progression of decisions upon what they call Canada's plan. And Canada's plan is their plan. They presume to call it Canada's plan. But the way it was formulated was back about 20 years ago. They had focus groups in 14 urban centers. And they say that people there, through the focus groups, decided that deep geological disposal was the best way to go. And so they've proceeded that way. But one of the aspects of the plan is that they will only decide upon this DGR if there's a willing host. And so what has happened up here in Thunder Bay is that willing host has been focused on Ignace and a very small surrounding area. Well, how does that take into account the people who would be exposed along the transportation route, or who would be exposed in any other way, such as the watershed? Now, funny thing, Ignace itself is upstream from the watershed, so they're not even at threat. So these people, these 1,200 people, are supposed to decide on behalf of the millions of people along the transportation routes and the watersheds. Winnipeg gets its drinking water from that watershed. So another really interesting point is that there will be no environmental assessment, that willingness will be decided before there's any future environmental assessments. They have them slated to happen when the licensing occurs, which might be a few years down the road. But by that time, you've decided on your site anyway. So it's not logical, and Canada's plan is, in our minds, a total sham. The NWMO has had many hundreds, if not thousands, of community events where they are taking notes as to what people think and feel, but the essential plan itself, the deep geological disposal, has not changed at all. So what's the process? What's the legitimacy of this process? Who should decide? And when should we decide? And what should we have to know before we decide? So I think that's the situation we're left in. We are the volunteers and we are the people. The people have to have their say, and we have to make it happen. So we need everybody who understands what's going on to participate at the hearings with the current petition we have, which is available at our website. We have to let them know quickly, and we have to let them know in strength. As one of our members says, in solidarity together. So we don't have deep pockets. We have volunteers, and we do the best we can by letters to the editor, by our website. We, the Nuclear Free North, is our organization. We have locals in Dryden, Atikokan, and Ignace and area. And we also have people sympathetic in other areas around the region. We're trying to develop a process of presentations to all of the municipalities throughout Northwestern Ontario. And I think we'll do that during this year, because in 2023, the plan, Canada's plan, so to speak, is to decide which community, and there are two communities in the running, South Bruce and Ignace, basically Revel Lake. And they say they're going to decide by 2023. Well, that's next year. So we don't have a whole lot of time. With regard to immediate activity, well, we have a website, we have a YouTube channel, and we also have a Facebook site. So people are invited to check those out at We, the Nuclear Free North, whether it's the website, the YouTube, or the Facebook page, but they will all come up if you search them. And you might also want to check our musical video. We would like people learn from narration, from the printed word, but they're also influenced by music. And so we have a family and friends video that we would like you to watch. It's available through the We the Nuclear Free North YouTube channel. You can just find the link and click on it, and then like it, share it, and spread it to as many friends as you can.